So this week we have also two for one, right? Two for price of one, two parashiot. We have אחרי Mot and Kedoshim. So this one page pay, את משפטי תעשו ואת חוקותי תשמעו, right? So it says over there in the psukim, כמעשה ארץ מצרים אשר ישבתם בה. So when you dwell in the land of Egypt, you shouldn't do what they're doing. וכמעשה ארץ כנען אשר אני מביא אתכם, and then later in the future when I'm going to bring you to ארץ כנען, right, to the land of Israel, don't do the same over there, what they're doing over there. Right? You know the sentence, it says, when in Rome, be a Roman, act like a Roman, behave like a Roman. So Hashem is telling us specifically, don't do that. It's not a good thing to do. Don't do what the Egyptians are doing, don't do what the Canaanim are doing. And then it says that mishpatai tasu, right? You should do or keep my my laws and my chukotai and my rules, right? So you need to watch them as well, to walk in this path. I am Hashem your God. ושמרתם את חוקותיי, and you keep my חוקות, right? and משפטיי, אשר יעשה אותם האדם, that the person that's going to keep them both, חוקים משפטים, the rule and the laws, and he will believe with them, I am Hashem. And המפרשים, they have a question, why it was double, twice, why it said, משפטיי תעשו ואת חוקותיי תשמורו, ושמרתם את חוקותיי ואת משפטיי. And then also another question, that they changed the order. In the first pasuk it says mishpatim first, and then chukot. In the second pasuk it says chukot, and then mishpatim. And also we need to explain, what is this warning? Shamartem et chukotai, that you should watch them carefully. And mishpatai, asher yaseh otam, that the person that will do the chukim and the mishpatim, right, the law and the orders, he will live with them, or within them. And he said this is like a general warning about keeping the mitzvot. But what's the relation to this parsha that is dealing with arayot, right, immorality? And also, the other verse over there, it says, "Mizar'echa lo titen la'avir lamolech," that you shouldn't take your child and sacrifice him to the molech. I think in English you said molech. So, the explanation, Kedaita in the holy books, it said sheklipat Mitzrayim, right, the shell of Egypt was ervat haaretz. It was like immorality thing, arayot. They were shtufei zima, full of desires. But they also had another shell, another klipa, which was the klipat avodah zara, idols, right? So we're doing idols as well. Hi, Arvi. And klipat Eretz Canaan, and the klipa of Eretz Canaan, right, the shell of the land of Canaan, was avodah zara. Kedaita, right? In Masechet Avodah Zarah, shelo haya shamar o givat, they said that there were no mountain or hill that people didn't worship idols. But also there, it was klipa of shtufei zima. Also, there were immorality things over there, right? So he said, which means in these two places, Egypt and Canaan, there were two klipot, two shells, two negative things. But the deviation between them was that the main thing in Egypt was desires, was immorality thing. And the main thing in Canaan was idols, right? That was the main thing. But they have both, Avodah Zarah and Arayot. Egypt was Arayot, and then secondary Avodah Zarah. In the land of Canaan, Eretz Israel was first Avodah Zarah, and secondary was immorality thing, Arayot. He said, "Veine klipat Mitzrayim Vaiykra," the main klipa of Egypt. Harvey, I'm going to mute you. So the main klipa of Mitzrayim, of shtufei zimah, it was the thing that nafsho shel adam mehamdetani, v'inyan shel tchunat hanefesh. He said over there in Egypt, it was more of a thing that a person have desire to, and this is part of the character of the person. And the Avodah Zarah, the main thing of the idols, which was in Eretz Canaan, that was in Bechinat Chok. כשם שבקדושה יש חוקים בליתם, כך יש דבר בטומאה. So you can understand like the laws are something that makes sense. Do not exceed speed limit because it's dangerous, yield to other cars, stop in the stop sign because you don't have a good visibility, so you have to do it slowly. There's a rule that makes sense. But the chok, chukim, these rules, you don't understand. Why? Because I said so. What's the reason? I don't want to explain you. So he says, so the same way in Gedusha, we have like Para Aduma and other chukim that Hashem gave us, that we don't know the reason. He said the other way, the same way in the Tuma, but in other way around, right? Like it's, the Tuma have the chukim. So these are the chukim in כל ענייני עבודה זרה. עץ ואבן ובעל פאור ומזרחה לא תיתן להעביר למולך. They are all chukim that there were no understanding. Right? How is it possible that people will worship a tree or a stone, or do their number 2 on their idols, or they take their sons and they sacrifice him to the molech? You don't understand that, right? It doesn't make sense. These are chukim. So they said there's no understanding according to a human brain because this is coming from the Sitra Achra. With the chukim of Hashem, we also don't understand, but we know it's coming from the Gedusha. And Hashem will always do good things to us and for us. So we can always trust Hashem. Right? The Goyim asked us once, how can you say, Naaseh v'nishma? If Hashem will tell you to jump from the roof, to go to the highest mountain and jump and kill yourself, how can you say, I will do first? And the answer is simple, because Hashem loves us and Hashem will never harm us. So that's why we trust Him 100%. But it's not the same thing with the Koach HaSitra Acha when it's coming from the other side, from the negative things, because over there it's like, yes, it's man-made, but we know in the time before Chazal were fixing the Avodah Zarah, they were weakening the power of Avodah Zarah, people did get responded, and probably there were idols or something that they had some kind of a power that Hashem gave them, but their rules or instruction to humans were take your son and sacrifice him, then you will be rich or whatever, right? Doesn't make sense. So, to the light of that, according to that, we can understand, right, that the psukim or mishpatai tasu, that you keep my or do my mishpatim, which says prior to this parasha, because these two main things are avodah zarah and arayot. They are the most difficult blemishes, and the Torah, the Holy Torah, is teaching us that Hashem created a cure, right, an antidote to all the diseases and all the severe blemishes, and that's the explanation, which is mishpatai tasu v'chukotai tishmoru. So if you will keep my mishpatim and my chukim, as Rashi explained, mishpatim and dvarim shebasechel mevinim, you understand with your common sense that you need to do that even if the Torah doesn't say. Everybody understands that it's not good to steal, to murder, okay, etc. And the chukot is the thing that we don't understand. These are the gzera, these are the decree of the king. No reason. Upasuk ze, in this verse, which is mishpatai tasu v'chukotai tishmoru, that were prior to the mishpatim lachukot, it says about the klipa of Mitzrayim, which their root, the klipa, their root, the negative of the thing that they had, was coming from the character of the person, because these are the things that the person really have desires, and this is something which is understandable about desire. You see a beautiful woman, then you have a desire for that. So that's we understand why it's very difficult and not to have these desires. So for that, Hashem gave us the cure, which is the mishpatim, which He says, lotin af, right? Don't go with someone else's wife. And then when it says chukotai, that was for the klipa, the negative things that they have the desire for avodah zarah, which you really don't understand. So the second pasuk, when it says shmartem et chukotai vet mishpatai, right? It says for the klipa of Eretz Canaan, because over there it's about avodah zarah. And chukot, there is no understanding. The same way that we don't understand how a person can worship a stone or a tree. And therefore, in the second pasuk, Hashem first is mentioning the chukut, that which is against the klipa of avodah zarah, which is the Eretz Canaan. And the Torah is teaching us that we have two main things: immorality things, right, and idolatry. So the immorality is Egypt. So over there, it's the mishpatim, which you understand. And the idolatry, which is in the Canaan, we don't understand. We have the chukim. And therefore Hashem commanded us before the redemption from Egypt for the dam Pesach and dam Milah, right? So what was Pesach? To slaughter the Egyptian god. And the Milah was for the desires, right, of immorality. And that's why I said in the Cheskel, V'vor alayich v'rech mitboseset bedamayich, right? Twice it says, v'rech mitboseset bedamayich, right? V'damayich chayim. You said the dam Pesach and dam Milad. So the blood of the Pesach and the dam of Milad. So the blood of Pesach is keneged yetzer the avodah zara, right? To slaughter the gods, the idols. And Pesach is the main thing is the emunah, faith in Hashem, and that Hashem is watching us directly, right? Divine intervention. As it says, Asher pasach al batei avotenu, right? Hashem skipping the houses of the Jews of us in Egypt when he was killing the firstborn. And the dam milah, the blood of the circumcision of the brit milah, right? Hashem commanded us before, and that was against the idols, right? Because we are actually living in Egypt and we're going to the land of Canaan, so we need protection for that. And when it says, "Ve'evor alayich ve'erech mitboseset bedamayich," when I see like you're in the blood, right? Bloods, two of them, right? Two types of blood. It says we cannot achieve these two things to conquer or to control or to fight the desire for idolatry and immorality only when we're really spilling our blood, really with mesirut nefesh, because it's very difficult. And by doing that, then we can actually achieve beirut ba'emunah, like clarity in our faith. And we need to put an effort for that. It's a real war. And also Kedusha. We cannot achieve a Kedusha without mesirut nefesh. So the explanation here, it said, at the end of the pasuk, which is Veshmartem et chukotai v'et mishpatai, that you keep my laws and the rule, that a person should do them or keep them, and then he will be living, right? He will be alive. We didn't find in other places in the Torah such kind of an ending that we say, you do that, you will remain alive. Because it says, and what's the explanation? What's the cause for a person to lose his vitality in the Torah, his chayut in avodah and Torah in the Shabbatot, and everything in Gusha, right? Person can keep the mitzvot, but it doesn't have the Gedusha inside. It doesn't feel anything because of two blemishes, because of arayot and because of avodah zarah. In avodah zarah, it's not necessarily really a stone or a tree. It could be a person that is worshiping himself, maybe with gaiva. Right? It says anyone that have a gaiva or anyone that is koes, anyone that is angry, that have an anger, כאילו עובד עבודה זרה, like he's worshiping an idol. Why? Because the root of anger is gaiva. Gaiva means that I deserve, I'm entitled. How dare you not to give me or something? So the person is getting angry. He's getting angry, he's like worshiping himself. So he's the avodah zara. So these two things, person really would not feel the Gedusha or the purity and the sweetness of the Torah if he's not going to have mesirut nefesh really to work on these two things. And this is the source of the vitality. As it says, kol mitzvot belo dechiluchim. So keeping the mitzvot without love and fear Hashem is like a body without a soul. Because you really need to think about Hashem. And we really need to think, like, for example, we're inside the shul, that we are in a house of Hashem and Hashem is there and Hashem is watching us. So you can ask, what do we say now in the davening? Are we reading this Haftarah or not? But just to say, how are you? How are you doing? Are you going to eat some cholent today in the Kiddush? That's like very bad, because you're not going to do that when your company CEO, the President of the United States is there blocking you, right? Everybody will behave. So this is what Hashem is telling us. Keep my laws, keep my rules, have mesirut nefesh, and then you will have a chance really to get into Kedusha. So Bezat Hashem, we're all going to have a Kedusha and to be elevated more and more. Thank you very much for listening.